Finally, a video about a summoner. We've got Joyce here. We're going to go through the Vortex Boss. We're going to go into the Tempest Domain. Then we're going to go into Goblin Cave because I want to know how summons work. I want to know if they can survive. Do they move up in the Goblin Cave and run beside you, especially clones like this for Joyce. And I really like Joyce because we're going to be able to bring in a rare to ramp up the damage this hero does. And if you looked at my video yesterday, you could see that Joyce does really well with single target damage because we're making 3 clones that are all doing basic attacks, and then we do really well with AoE damage. Because Joyce has some really cool skills here to make a clone of itself, and a lot of times you can have 3 out. There'll be like 5-second delay where you won't have 3 out. But we could lower this cast time. I don't have it lowered, and we could put some more gear on to do skill haste, and we can have 100% uptime on that. And then here's really cool too, because we do a 3x3 AoE for each clone out there. So total, if we have all 4, that's the caster along with the 3, that's 840 damage. That's great single target damage, and that's really good 3x3 damage. But 3x3 right now is messed up, guys. I'm testing so many heroes. More than 50% of the 3x3 people that hit are not hitting the maximum amount of targets in that area. They will actually have 3 in a line right in front of their face and hit 1 on the far right instead of 3, and they'll do this all the time. I haven't paid attention to this when we're running through Goblin or anywhere, but this is happening with so many heroes, and I'm going to send it into the company because the AI is bonkers. Here it's really cool because any buffs the pets get or the clones, Joyce gets them as well. We're going to start off in the Vortex. Here is the epic gear. We're going to keep this legendary artifact on to get some crit rate. Crit rate does carry over to your summons, so we can get really high crit rate, really high critical damage, and they can do pretty well. They always get a percentage of your attack. It says 70% right here. A lot of the undead ones say 100% of your attack, but we're able to get out 3 at a time, so it's a lot of single target damage. You can never underestimate all those basic attacks. Just flying, basic attack, basic attack. So my biggest thing here was I was worried, can these clones survive? Do they get enough of the caster's defense and HP for them to stay up when they're being hit? Because it doesn't tell us that, right? We don't know really how tanky they're going to be. But here you'll see, we actually survived the whole entire time. I don't have any issues with my clones dying. They are staying up. They're only falling over or fading out when their time runs up. Other than that, they are square. I know I am getting increased defense to everyone from time to time, but even when they're hit without that increased defense, and I watched it quite a lot, they are still there. They're still strong. They're still there. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy we can bring them into content like this and they will stay alive. Now, that's only these clones. A lot of weaker skeletons, I noticed they're not as strong, and we're going to bring in a rare to make Joyce really strong in just a minute. Because right now, Sigurd's got some legendary gear on. Joyce has the gear I showed you with the epic, but Sigurd's got a whole set of legendary gear. We're going to put that legendary gear on a rare to increase our attack speed and to increase our attack on all the summons, which then when Joyce's little soul link passive, Joyce will get all those buffs as well. So let's go forward and see how much damage we get on this run total. So Joyce is pulling forward, doing really good with that damage, all those basic attacks, all those 3x3 with that 210% of attack multiple times depending on how many clones we have out. And it's fun. I like this. I like the jester look as opposed to all the undead ones running around. And it's cool too because they're ranged. They just sit back and fire and fire. But I'm going to show you how they function in the Goblin Cave and on Tempest Domain. I don't know. Sometimes I just really wonder about... See, the clones were left here. Like multiple clones were actually still alive at the end when everybody else was dead. So here with Joyce, they're fine. They're good. 1.5 million and only 600,000 with Sigurd. So I'm going to take Sigurd's gear, all that legendary gear, and put it on a rare summoner that gives a lot of buffs to other summons. We'll compare their damage numbers at the end of the battle. We'll have them both side by side. I've got the rare in. I just want this rare to do 600,000 damage and then really boost up Joyce's damage. Let's see the buff right here. The ultimate's about to go off. There it is. It gives it to all the summons, even the summons that little one's bringing out. She's bringing out these little skeletons, the lizard girl. But now Joyce is getting that buff. 50% additional attack speed, and 20% attack. About half of the time, right? Half of the battle. 10 seconds on the 20 or 23 second cooldown. That's some good damage. It should be good damage. So we're going to skip to the end. Let's see. Let's see if the little lizard can do 600,000. And then see how much damage Joyce jumps up from 1.5 million. I think Joyce did. The rare lizard pulled in more than Sigrid with the same exact gear on, although we did use the rare lizard's attack speed lead, the captain ability of 18% additional attack speed for the whole entire team. So that could have helped us out to get that additional damage. I don't know why the legendary dwarf is really low. Look at that difference in damage. 800,000, 600,000. I don't, maybe he just wasn't critting like he was on this one over here. But look at Joyce. Joyce went from 1.5 million to almost 2 million. That's a huge damage increase. 500,000 damage just from including this rare that's giving everyone the boost. And especially giving Joyce the boost, since any buffs that go on the pets go on to Joyce as well. I think that's great. So if we want to bring Joyce in, get some massive single target damage, it's working properly here. Single target damage and even the 3x3 is working fine on the Vortex. Now you're about to see what happens when we bring Joyce into a run. So I was doing multiple goblin runs and you can see Joyce's damage, but don't pay attention to it because that damage is wrong. It should be way higher. And then I brought Joyce into a run by himself. And here's what happens. Watch this. So sad. It is so sad. And this is happening, like I said, to about 50% of the heroes I test. It doesn't matter if they're summoners, if they're poisoners, if they're direct damage dealers. They're just not using their 3x3 and using the proper AI to hit as many as they can. Right now, you could hit all of them, all 5. And Joyce hits 1 or 2. It was like 1, I think. The one on the far right. Any other hero that does their AI right will hit all 5. All 5. They're all there in a 3x3 square. Now we're going to have more come down. So it's even more options to get a group of goblins in a 3x3 square. Now Joyce will do this like lean forward. And that's when you know it did its battle skill. Because you can't control battle skills. Here we go. Wait for the lean forward. I got it all 1 time speed. It's slow, but we need to know this. We need to see this. This is bad. 1 target. 1 target. Are you kidding me? You could have hit like 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's watch it again. Let's see again. There, if they're attacking that target, maybe. Nope, they hit 2. They hit 2 on the right instead of like 4 or 5. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. This is happening all the time, even on the test dummy, like I said, with all those other heroes. So it's really lowering our damage. Big time when you think somebody's going to go in there in a 3x3 and do some work for you in the Goblin Cave, or even going through runs, going like Tempest Domain or anything, especially the runs where we got multiple waves against multiple people or Fey Meander. And you can say, yeah, but maybe I'll just go manual and do it myself. You can't do it yourself for battle skills. And a lot of the 3x3 are people's battle skills. We can do it for their ultimates, but why should we have to? The game should be well enough, especially since the other half of the heroes are doing it properly. That's what I don't get. Okay, here's everybody in a line. You can't mess this up. You can get 3. You can get 3, right? 3x3, you can easily get 3. It didn't. Sorry, I clipped it. Okay, so now we're going through Tempest Domain. I want to know, do my summons run behind me like they do in the Goblin Lair? I didn't show you the full run of the Goblin Lair, but when you have summons, those clones, they run up behind as you go through the Goblin waves. They're running behind me like a person would run. Here, it's pretty sad because they disappear and you have to build back up. And for Joyce, that's not good because Joyce is all about building up to having 3 out, 90% of the time right now with the cast speed that Joyce has. It is cool though, that since they have the lowest max HP, that people who go for those kind of heroes, like this one warrior, jumped over and killed one of the clones instead. I like that. I like the clones taking the hit instead of our actual guys taking the hit. All right, we're going to make it through this, and I want to show you at the end when we get toward running to the next stage. So we've got 2 clones out. What should happen is, no, we've got 3 now. Their timer should stop. We run forward, and if they've got like 6 seconds left to live, then they should come forward and have 6 seconds left to live, or 10 seconds, or 15, because these stay out quite a bit. Now Joyce has to start a new wave fresh, waiting for the ultimate to come back to summon a clone and then build back up, which means that any battle skills we do on the 3x3, not like they're going to hit a lot of people, they're not doing their optimal damage because it's 210% of attack per clone. We build back up to our rotating 3, and then we run to the boss, and now we have to build back up again. It's not a good system when everybody else can actually do all their moves and do everything they need to do. And if we're running forward in the Goblin Cave, I can see the clone run forward like a person. It looks smooth, actually. It looks really cool. Why can't they do it here in the waves? Why do they cut them and not bring them over to the next wave? It should be like any other skill. Our recharge or any of that, when we're running to the next wave, everything is just put on pause. We come back and they're there again. So now I got to come back and get my clones back up. Let's pay attention here to see when we do our battle skill. How many of these whelps in front of us are we going to hit? We hit 2, I think. 2 in front of us when there were obviously 3 in a row that we could hit in a 3x3 square that a lot of other heroes would do and a lot of the other heroes would not do. It's sad. To me, it's sad in a game like this. We should not be having these kind of AI issues with half of the heroes in the game. Because we know that it can work, right? So the AI is weird. The AI's got a lot of issues in Grave of Venom as well for targeting on the Harpy. It's really strange from the things that I've seen there. So we need to do something and fix that AI. And I'm going to send over a video to them. I'm going to show them what's going on. And if we don't get it fixed this season, it needs to be fixed by next season. Because we're not getting the numbers we should on these heroes. And I don't like that. I want to get the optimal numbers, I want to get that damage in for these heroes because I really like Joyce. I love the look of a Jester putting out multiple clones and they stay away and you just fire it. And then they do really cool with that AoE damage. So that's Joyce. I think it's a great epic summoner. I like buffing Joyce's summon so that Joyce gets that buff too. I'm sure there's some more stuff we can do with that. I'm sure there's some legendaries out there that buff summons that then would like supercharge Joyce maybe all the time. I'll have to look through those legendaries and see what they can do. All in all, Joyce is the coolest summoner that I've seen so far. Let me know your favorite summoner. Let me know which one to test out next, and I will. We'll do a video on them soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all in a video soon.